New tonight, a major break in the case of a Southside gambling bust that we first told you about last month. Deputies say the man who owns that house is now under arrest, and investigators say this wasn't just a pop-up gambling spot, but part of a much larger organized criminal operation. KENS 5's Vanessa Corr is joining us now with new details tonight and what deputies say they uncovered behind the scenes. Vanessa?
Well, Sarah, this case started with not one, but two raids on the same house. But investigators say that was just the beginning. They later found out and followed a trail of evidence, including jail phone calls that led detectives straight to the man they say is the mastermind. A criminal operation lurking behind the closed doors of this Southside home.
I mean, this is obviously something that's been, I'd call it, hiding in plain sight for many years.
The outside of the house off the 300 block of East Harding Street appeared to be normal, but inside hid a lucrative secret, what Sheriff Javier Salazar calls a hub for illegal gambling.
What we'll do is we'll conduct an undercover operation. An undercover detective will go into the location, play the game, and then once they're paid out, if it happens to be an illegal payout, so in other words, in some cases upwards of 10 times the amount that's wagered, that makes it an illegal case.
The property raided not once but twice. The most recent, March 19th. Deputies say they found more than $11,000 in cash and nearly 50 video slot machines. Armando Pompa and Monica Gonzalez were arrested. But the break in the case came over a month later. And 65-year-old Clayton Jopling is now in jail, accused of being the mastermind behind the operation. According to the arrest warrant, detectives listened in on jail phone calls and say Pompa told Jopling where he could find the stash of money from the game room. More evidence sealed their case, and deputies say Jopling is now facing a long list of charges. The sheriff says operations like these don't just break the law, they target the most vulnerable.
That's a growing segment of the population is the elderly, and they're on a fixed income. And unfortunately, these places prey upon, they're gaining these people's confidence, and they're unfortunately forming an addiction to that gambling, thinking that they're just one more pull away from that big payout, and they're going to pay all their bills for the month.
Well, Sarah, the sheriff tells us that those jail phone calls are a gold mine of information, but you can imagine listening to all those and monitoring them. It takes a lot of time and effort. Well, the sheriff tells us thanks to a new federal grant, his intel team is able to beef up their efforts and hopefully get more criminals off the streets. For now, Sarah, we're going to send it back to you.